as the title of the video should explain, I've been playing Assassin's Creed basically all my life. I've got every Assassin's Creed game except Shadows. I played the original, and it's my personal opinion that Assassin's Creed Black Flag, like the original, was the last good Assassin's Creed game Ubisoft made. Anyway, I pre-ordered this game. Originally I wasn't going to, because I was like, oh, you know, this game's probably gonna suck. You know, because of the trend of Ubisoft making garbage games. And, yeah, I personally don't think this new game is that good. I've given it a go, and I tried making reviews on this game, but for some reason they kept getting taken down, and they wouldn't let me appeal them. Also, I'm sorry for getting my dogs fighting in the background, and if my quality is poor. I know most people aren't even going to see this video. I doubt it's going to get any views at all. I felt like I just had to make a video on this game. So, what's good about it and what's bad about it? So far, obviously, you know, the graphics are pretty decent. I felt like, you know, the smoke, like graphics, like, you know, like when it's like explosions and stuff, the smoke. I think the smoke's pretty good as well. So let's get into the stuff I don't like about the game. So let's look at this. So combat, I don't like the combat. I think it's just way too like anime, if that makes any sense. In combat, you used to be able to use your hidden blade whenever you wanted. Now you can only use it when when you're next to someone who's an enemy and they're off guard. You can't do that anymore. You used to be able to pick up weapons off the ground like muskets and swords and stuff. You can't do that anymore. I think the parkour isn't that good either. So I'm gonna climb some stuff here, and I want you to look at it. So you don't really grab onto things really well. So if you look at where I am down here, okay, he doesn't really grab things, he just kind of sucks into things now. You see what I mean? He kind of just sucks into things. He doesn't really climb them anymore. And when he's jumping between trees and stuff, his arms kind of just phase through them. I don't think the parkour is all that good in comparison to the previous, to the original. I think that the lighting isn't as good. I think that the eyeshadow isn't as good, especially on the pirate characters. Also, and I don't want to say this stuff because I don't know if you can get banned or not for it, but a lot of characters that were once what you would consider pretty or good looking or slim or whatever, they've been like made chubby and ugly. This has particularly affected the female characters in the game, I think. So I've come across, once again, like I've said, I've played every Assassin's Creed except Shadows, and I've never come across a group of, like, you know, the women you can hire to like destroy cars. I've never come across a group of women that you would consider chubby, but in this game they are, I wouldn't say frequent, but they are like there. So this one isn't that, but I found quite a few of them. And for whatever reason, they've made tons of females have like these square, blocky shaped heads. And I want to show you guys the combat. I know once again, pretty much no one's going to see this video, but I just felt like I had to make a review. So let's do the combat. So on Xbox, if you hold RT and X, you can kick a person. And stuff like that. On the ground, you press Y. You can sweep their feet if they're like not a high character. This guy won't let me do it. Yeah. And I just don't feel like the combat is all that good. So in the original game, you can still do it in this game. It's just weird. When you are fighting an enemy, you could like use your pistol or whatever to do like a special kill on them. You can still do that, it's just weird. Combat is just, it's not my cup of tea. I don't prefer it in comparison to the original game. The naval combat isn't that good either. In the naval combat, I'll show you guys now actually. Let me get my ship and I'll show you. The naval combat isn't as good as I remember it being in the original. Now in this combat, when you're like shooting a ship and your cannonballs will make contact with this ship, it doesn't feel as impactful as it used to be.
Put on some sail.
So let me go and find the ship. Oh yeah, just another thing to note: you can't shoot at islands anymore. Like any island that's like got people in it, you can't shoot at it anymore. And when you take over a fortress, you can't kill the hostages anymore. I don't know. I know people can be like, oh, well, why would you want to kill hostages after you've taken a fort? But it's just something hard. Also, there's been some censorship in this game. The only thing I've personally found so far is there's this, if I remember correctly, it was a while ago I played the original, but if I remember correctly, it was a mermaid figurehead. And she had her chest out, let's say, because once again, I don't know what I can and can't say. And I'll get banned for it. She had her chest out, let's say that. Whereas in this game, they decided to put a modern day bra over it. And also Ubisoft, this isn't strictly for Ubisoft because I've seen it done with many other games, but games that you would consider woke or wokenized, I've monitored their reviews, and for whatever reason a lot of reviews get deleted even if they don't break any of the code of conduct. They get deleted just to give the game a better rating than it is. So like on YouTube or other places, it will be massively disliked. You'll see the stock falling, you'll see layoffs, but regardless, for whatever reason, it has a high rating, which just makes no sense. Oh, and look at this. See this rogue wave? In the original game, there was like an icon that symbolised, hey, there's a rogue wave coming your way, whereas in this game there isn't. Another thing they've added is if you hold D-pad up, it puts out like a line, so let me show you. So if you put like like something down, so let me get rid of all this other stuff because right now it's confused, so I've got too many down. So if you put a marker over here, for example, it puts down like a line in the ocean and you can hold Y to follow that line. So let me show you the
Ease the mains off the wind!
So, if you shoot a ship... See, it just doesn't feel that impactful. It just doesn't feel that impactful. Let me turn down the audio actually, because I've just realised it's too loud. You might not be able to hear me. One sec. Alright, I'm stupid for that. So, let me show you again. So, you see what I mean? It just doesn't feel as impactful as it originally did. Like, when you get hit by cannonballs as well, you used to see, like, tons of wood, like, flakes of wood and shards of wood and fragments just flying about. Whereas in this game, it just doesn't feel like that. Like, look at this. My deck looks fine. Now, also the swivel guns, they're not as easy to use or as good, in my opinion. I personally don't like them as much. So, also, another thing to note in this game, you can still leave your ship and climb aboard other ships and take them over that way. Just a thing to add, so in the original game when you was on an island, regardless of wherever it was, you could do the things on the island. So let me just quickly show you. So I can't remember exactly where you start off, but let's use, let me find one actually. Bear with me. Yeah, this island. So you see where it says Mayan Stele, I think it's called? When you're starting off on the game, the chests and stuff, areas are just blocked off. You can't explore those areas or do those things. Whereas in the original game, you had almost complete freedom of exploration. Whereas in this game, it's like levels instead of like freedom of exploration. You have to do specific things to unlock specific things. Whereas in the original game, you could go anywhere you wanted to, do anything you wanted to, teleport anywhere. Whereas in this game, you have to wait till specific stages to, have certain chests unlocked or certain things unlocked or certain, teleportations unlocked. I'm also not the biggest fan of this menu section here. Another thing I would like to add, the microtransactions. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, why are you complaining about microtransactions? But it just feels like wherever Ubisoft can, they try and squeeze out more money off of you. For example, resource pack. You know, why is that there? Why is this there? You know, these things. I just don't. I personally just don't agree with them in being there. In the original game, you could unlock stuff. You could pretty much unlock everything. Let me turn down the volume again because I can barely hear myself. Once again, I apologize if you guys can't hear me very well. In the original game, pretty much all you needed you could find through hard work, whereas nowadays you can just buy stuff. I personally don't agree with that. Let me turn off the wheel really quickly. I personally don't agree with that microtransaction garbage. Also, in this game, there is now health bars when you fight enemies. I forgot to mention that. Let me show you something really quickly. In the original game, you could buy an outfit with a skull on the back. I do believe I have it here. Yeah, here. I know this, people are going to be like, oh, Henry, you're just complaining for the sake of complaining now, but I personally don't think this looks as good as the original outfit. The skull used to stand out much more, whereas now you can see the leather pieces are just kind of split. And there's like a belt that goes over the shoulder, which kind of covers up part of it. I don't think it looks as good anymore either. So, let me just quickly summarize. Sorry for my poor audio quality. I know barely anyone's going to see this video, and most people, if they do see this video, they're not going to stay to watch the whole thing. I just wanted to point out that video games, it feels like for over the last 10 decades, have just been like going backwards and deteriorating of quality. It feels like companies are now just slapping on, you know, what you deem as good quality graphics and calling it a better game. And it feels like there's a bunch of people out there that haven't played many games or what I'd consider good games, like the original Black Flag. And because they haven't got good games to compare to, they don't have like a higher standard of like an opinion, if that makes any sense. So they think that a game. So let's say you haven't played Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the original, for example, and you've only played the resynced version. You haven't got the original to compare to, if that makes sense. So any game that comes out, they just consider it a good game, whereas people who actually have experience with good games, they look at them like something's wrong with them. And a lot of people nowadays, they don't seem capable of like critical thinking. They have more of this hive mind thinking. They're not able to think for themselves. So if they see a bunch of people saying, you know, digital games or this game's good, then they're just willing to do that. They're not willing to like form their own opinion. So let me give you my quick opinion of this game. I think that it's a much worse version than the original game. I think they've changed too much and removed too much. That it's just lost the feel of the original game. It just doesn't feel like the original game. It doesn't have the same charm of the original game. The combat has been butchered. The navy combat has been butchered. You know, the melee combat has been butchered. The parkour has been butchered. There's writing in many places that's been added that I think's been butchered. I think the writing has been very poor. That they've added. They've added some of these commanders or whatever you can add to your ship. So let me quickly show you this. So this guy down here, you go to an island and he's there, and there's like these bad guys or whatever you have to kill, and then he's on your ship, and there's nothing more there for it. He's meant to be commanding or like keeping your crew in place, but he doesn't really do anything. He's just there. Whereas with this girl here, I believe her name is Lucy. She has like a more like, you know, in-depth background. She has like a traumatic past of her father and whatnot. And then she kind of, even though you're the captain of the game, she kind of overshadows you. And then when she's on your ship, even though she's only meant to be keeping your ship in check, like the restoration of your ship, make sure your ship's clean, make sure your ship's like not overly damaged or whatever. For whatever reason, when you give out orders, she seems to like parrot you, and take over those orders and repeat the orders you've given. And she's just kind of like overtaking the things that Edward should be doing. So like when he says put down a sail, she tends to do that or whatever. She repeats that. It can be rather frustrating. She's just kind of there. Whereas the other guy that is meant to be like the warrior and leading your crew, he doesn't really do anything. He doesn't say anything. He's just kind of there. I haven't done the underwater stuff thus far, where you get the bell and you can go underground. So I have yet to review that. But yeah, I don't think this is really a better game, because I was on Twitter and a lot of people saying, oh, this is the best game so far. While I will say that in my opinion, this is the best Assassin's Creed game they've made in quite a while. It isn't better than the original game. I think it's personally worse than the original game. It's just got better graphics. There's... what can I say now? What can I say to make this seem better? So, when you're on an island nowadays, if you hold LT, these different things pop up, where... Let me kill these guys actually, because I can't seem to multitask here. You can get a quick view of the combat. So, oh yeah, actually, this is something to point out. So in the original game, if you deflected someone or killed someone, you can just keep going to the guy after guy after guy and killing them. Whereas nowadays, you can only kill so many people, depending on the sword you have. So, I probably worded that very poorly. So back in the day, when you killed someone, you could like aim in a direction and latch onto another person and kill them. And you could just keep doing it. But nowadays, you can only do it based on the sword you have. So if you look at the sword I'm currently holding, I look on the right side of the screen, it says damage and then maximum takedowns. So if I kill someone and then... No, sorry. If I parry someone and then take them down, another person next to me will say take down and I can take them down, and then that's it. I can't, carry on the streak. I can only carry on the streak the number of, like... Sorry, my words getting all mumbled up. I can only kill as many people as it says here. So this one's 2, this one's 3. I don't think I have a number 4 sword at the moment, which I think they've also butchered. So I'm not a fan of that either. So let me just keep doing some more combat and I'll show you. A lot of people have also said that the combat isn't as good or as easy as the original, because I personally think there's like a delay in here. When you press the button, even if it's been a while since you pressed that button, like maybe 5 seconds or whatever, when you go to deflect, it doesn't always deflect. It's still carrying out your last input, which is rather weird. The combat isn't as fluid in my opinion as the original either. Let me quickly go up and kill this guy. So earlier in the video, or the stream or whatever, I was saying about how if you leave your ship and climb aboard another ship, you can take it over like you used to be able to. So this is just to prove it. So I don't want people to think I was saying it just for the sake of it. Sometimes when you're going down these ropes, it can bug out. I've got a video that I'm going to upload on my YouTube soon, where the ropes bug on some of these ships, so you can just climb everywhere even though there's not a bug pointing in that direction. So I've chose scuttle ship, so all I have to do now is jump off the ship, and if I swim further enough away it'll explode. Show you guys. Just another thing to add on to it. So earlier I mentioned how if you're aiming at an island with people on it, you can't shoot anymore, whereas you used to be able to. And how if you're storming a fort, you can't execute prisoners anymore like you used to be able to, which takes away your freedom of choice, I suppose. But people are going to be like, oh, that's weird, why would you want to execute prisoners? When you're at a fort and you're fighting the fort's defences, you can no longer dock the fort while you're still in combat. Now you have to take out the ships that are attacking you to be able to dock at the fort. Also, I'm sorry if people are texting and I'm not answering you. I can't see your text right now. I've just started Twitch to make a stream so I can make a YouTube video. So yeah, when you're in like a navy fight, let's say you're in the water and you're fighting another ship, even if there's other ships attacking you, you can still like hook up against the ship you're fighting, and the other ships will leave you alone. Whereas if you're taking over a fort, you have to defeat all the other ships around you that are aggroed onto you to be able to dock at the fort, which I think is pretty weird. I don't like that because it just, you know, the logic's not there. There's more of a variety here to climb, so I want to quickly show you the climbing again. So you see this here, this model, this thing here, that you can find this all over the game, and it's meant to like make it easy for you to climb, so like put your foot into place and stuff. But he doesn't even use it, you know. He just sucks up onto the edge, you know. I think it's a cool feature that the tiles are falling down. So I've been complaining for the last 20 minutes about this game, the things I don't like about the game, the things I don't like about the game. I said at the start of the video the things I do like about the game, which is, you know, the graphics are obviously improved beyond comparison. I like the way the smoke looks in a fight when things exploded. I also like how if you walk into like a bottle or a bucket, you know, the thing moves. Whereas if it's like a, look at this, like you can kick things around. You couldn't do that in the original game. But obviously the original game came out ages ago, so it didn't have, they probably did have the technology they needed to, you know, implement that. But seeing that that's implemented now, I think I do like that. Obviously this game just came out, so it does have quite a few bugs and glitches and stuff. A thing I picked up on this morning, I do believe, if you are on a ledge, let me find one actually. So once again, I don't want to say things and people to think, you know, I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it. I want people to actually see what I'm saying. So will this work? Can I go on the... Yeah, I can. So if you... I don't know if it'll happen now, but this morning I was doing a photo mode thing and my sword started bugging out. It doesn't seem to be happening now, but the sword can bug out. So that's just another thing to add on. So aside from all I've covered over, so you know, the poorer not graphics, what I'm saying, the poorer combat, the poorer attention to detail, wait no, scrap that, attention to detail, they actually improved that in a lot of places, making a bunch of people chubbier and squared headed, particularly women for no reason whatsoever, making the eyeshadow worse. I don't personally understand their choice in writing. They've added a bunch of writing on that wasn't in the original game, which I think was poorly voiced and voice acted. Another thing I would like to add, in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, I believe it was, I don't know the technical term for it, but you know when your character's like speaking and his lips are moving and stuff? In this game, the lips don't really match up with the words like they used to. It's like they're just kind of speaking and the lips are following along. They're not really forming the words like they have in most games. Another thing I think that Ubisoft particularly has decreased quality-wise in is the expression of emotions. So I think Ubisoft peaked at this in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So when a character is like, you know, angry, sad or whatever in a cinematic or whatever, they seem to not be able to effectively portray that in their character. Often when a character nowadays in video games, particularly Ubisoft games, are trying to express their emotions, their facial features do not match up with it. They look constipated most of the time. Whereas, I know it's like a broken record here, whereas all those years back, all the way back to Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, which, if I can remember correctly, was the 3rd or 4th installment in the Assassin's Creed franchise, because I know they had the mobile game, and then they had Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's Creed 2, and then Brotherhood, so maybe the 3rd or 4th Assassin's Creed game, but it was Brotherhood. I personally think they peaked at, you know, the characters being able to match, like, their facial features, being able to match the expressions they're supposed to be, emotions they're supposed to be expressing, whereas in this game it just looks weird. So more on the naval combat, let me show you some stuff.
All right, Jack,
so now they've got all this stuff on the bottom left where it shows you all the stuff. So if you recruit Lucy to your officers, you unlock this thing where if you press LB and RB at the same time, you can ram. Like, you can force the ram. I I don't know if they had this in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but I do believe they had it in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They've also got the mortars. The mortars, I'm personally not the best fan of it. When you shoot, it does take quite a while to come down, so you have to kind of predict where they're going. So you wouldn't want to aim the circle here, would you? Because it's going to take a while for the mortars to fall down. So you want to kind of aim it ahead, and you want to try and I don't know if what the right word is for it. You want to try and predict where the ship's going to be and time the shots. What else is there to mention? I've mentioned the follow the sea thing, the Pathfinder. I've shown you guys the store. They've got a codex thing now. I don't believe they had that in the original game. You've got all this stuff now. I'm what's called a completionist, and you see where it says inventory, there's like this diamond shape above it, as well as codex and above animus. I like to have that. I don't like that on there because I like to complete stuff, and whenever you pick up something new, even if it's just like a trade cargo item or whatever, it puts the diamond back on top of the inventory. I'm not the biggest fan of that because, you know, I only want to be really notified if something important's been added, like a new gun or a new outfit or something, whereas that doesn't show up. In the original game, when you got the materials to craft a new item, you would get like a notification or like a visible icon that, you know, you can now craft this item, whereas nowadays it doesn't tell you that you're ready to craft an item. You know, there's no icon on there. You just have to kind of look over here and, you know, try and figure out if you have the items or not. I'm personally not the biggest fan of that. I don't remember if they had this in the original game. They probably did. One thing I will give Ubisoft is I like how now, if you go on your inventory in the just below the top left corner where it says Edway, you can now see all your like inventory, like your ammo and stuff. I do like that. What else is there to mention? I don't think there really is. I think I've mentioned everything I need to that I've accumulated thus far while playing the game. So yeah, to summarize, forgive me for all the waffling and the repeating, but yeah, I personally think this game is massively overrated. I think it's just Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but with better graphics, poorer combat, you know, poorer naval combat, you know, poorer story writing, words, etc. I think they personally didn't need to add the officers, because they don't really do anything. Yeah, I'm personally going to return this game as soon as I can, because I don't want this part of my collection, really. I don't want Ubisoft to have my money and, you know, feel like, oh, well, you know, these players have given us their money, therefore, you know, this must be a good sign. I don't want them to think that. I bought the game because I wanted to try it out, because I do, you know, because I'm a big fan of the original Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and I wanted to try out the new Black Flag, but they've just changed too much. They've altered too much. They've changed too much. It just doesn't feel like Black Flag anymore. It just feels way too sanitized, and this is something I feel with a lot of new games coming out nowadays. Too many of the games just feel too modernized or sanitized, or what you would deem as wokenized or whatever. They just don't feel the same. They don't have the same charm. Whereas what I found with game companies that do listen to their fans, and, you know, they make their games for their fans, their games tend to flourish. Whereas what Ubisoft seems to have been doing since, at least since maybe Black Flag or maybe Rogue, they seem to be making the games for themselves or a minority of their player base. They seem to be, you know, just progressively getting worse and just regressing in their quality of games. You see this with a lot of video game companies nowadays, and even, you know, movie producers. They keep making video games and movies for audiences that just don't exist or don't support them, and then they act surprised when their games or their movies just flop and they lose millions, and then they have to lay off tons of people to, you know, to compensate for that. So yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here because I've already talked about all I need to talk about. Once again, I know no one's gonna see this video, or, you know, react to this video or whatever. And even if people do see this video, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this. I'm probably going to get like a bunch of negative comments, you know, complain about one thing or another. But I just felt like I had to make a review. Because like I've already said, I've owned every Assassin's Creed bar Shadows, and I've played Assassin's Creed for most of my life and much of my childhood, so it is special to me. So them, you know, them messing up a game that was beloved by tons of people and changing it feels kind of personal. I know throughout my massive rant here, I've probably come off like really cringy and like corny and like, just shut up, guy. Like, you know, what are you talking about? But I just felt like I had to make this video, if not for other people, because I have made videos in the past where people have seen it and they'll be like, oh, you know, if you hadn't made this video, I would have got this game, and then I would have had to waste my time, you know, like refunding it and all that. So even if just one person sees this video once I've uploaded it on YouTube, because my plan is to end the stream and then upload it to YouTube from there. If just one person sees this video and they're like, you know what, you're correct, you know, they have butchered the game, I'm not going to waste my time and money on this, and I'm not going to, you know, make this company believe they are doing a good job with this, because they're just not. All they've done with this game is they've made it for themselves, they've slapped some good graphics on it, and then they've added microtransactions. That's literally all they've done. They've butchered a bunch of good stuff, removed a bunch of good, you know, stuff they didn't need to remove. They've altered a bunch of stuff. They've made it for themselves, and that's it basically. So like I've said at the start of the video, if you go to the Xbox store and you go to Assassin's Creed Black Flag or a bunch of these new games that are deemed as, you know, woke or whatever, they keep removing reviews that criticize the game to give the game a better review, a better rate. Whereas if you go on like YouTube or social media or whatever, there's the majority of like reviews on the trailers or websites or whatever, most of them are negative. So they don't match up with the rating that it has. Which means that these companies are, you know, they're frauding you guys, they're lying to you guys, they're trying to get you to buy a game that isn't as good as they say it is. So yeah, I've talked about everything I need to talk about. Wait, before I end actually, let me show you guys, I've just thought about it, let me show you guys the fleet stuff. So in the original game, you could send ships out to like do missions for you, and they would bring back like, you know, sails or capstans or weapons or whatever. But I feel like they've butchered this. They've completely butchered this. I hate this. I think what they've done with this stuff here, I think they've made it far worse. I don't like it anywhere near in comparison to the original game. So obviously you have your fleet, where you can increase them with buying more, you know, spots and stuff, going out and acquiring these ships. For whatever reason, this game's kind of weird. I don't know if it's a bug or whatever, but whenever you go on a ship, sometimes the ship will just say scuttle, sometimes the ship will say, you know, get the captain's loot, sometimes it will say repair, sometimes it will say, you know, add to fleet. Personally, what I find a lot of is scuttle for some reason. I don't know what it is. I keep finding scuttle, so I can't, you know, send every ship I find to my fleet. So what I tend to do sometimes is I'll delete a ship. Oh wait, no, I'm stupid. I need to cut that. Wait, no. No, it is correct. So earlier in the game, even when I had a lot of, you know, space left, it wouldn't let me add ships to my fleet for some reason, even if I had space. So what you can do in this game is you can do I think it's like two things. So if you go to one sec. So if you go to your your own island, so Great Iguana, you can go to the manor. So let me take you here, and you can upgrade stuff, and you can increase your berths, which is basically your slots for ships. And even when I had like 4 spaces left, it wouldn't let me save ships to my fleet. I don't know if that's just a bug I've got, or like anyone else is experiencing that. I know it's probably not too big of a deal. So yeah, what's added to this part here? So you got this butler guy. I won't spoil it, but basically he wants you to find artwork. In the original game, it's still here in the new game, but you basically find all these Templars, you get their keys, you put it in here, you get an outfit. In the original game, you used to get like a certain like buff or whatever with it, like you took less damage, but they've added trinkets to the game. So if you look at my belt, you will see the trinkets. Let me turn them around. They should be on the back. For some reason, only one trinket's spotting up. It must be because of my outfit. They've now added all these perks to these trinkets. So instead of you getting the perk on your outfit, you'll only get it on your trinket. Let me show you the outfit I was talking about. This is it. So you don't get the perk on the outfit anymore. I don't think it's too big of a deal, but yeah, it's up to your guys' own preference, I suppose. I don't know if they had this in the original game. I personally don't remember them having this, but you can now get pistol swords. If you hold RB, so with a standard sword, if you hold RB, you kind of do like a weird, like anime thrust, I suppose you could call it. But if you use the pistol swords and you hold RB, even if you let go, you keep shooting. So in combat, you're just prone to get hit. So because you can't cancel it, you can't roll away or anything. You literally cannot roll away. You're just basically stuck there, prone to get hit. You can't defend yourself or anything. Some outfits you can put your hood up and down on. Some you can't. What else is there? You can now skip the time of day by holding D-pad right. But for some reason it doesn't. For some reason I can't usually use it. It almost always says unable to skip time right now. So yeah, there's nothing else I can really think of. I've said like 3 times now I'm going to end the video here, but then I keep remembering more stuff to explain to you, add on to the video. But yeah, I can't really think of anything else to add on. I've pretty much gone through everything I've wanted to say. So I am going to end the video here. But yeah, I've already summarized. But yeah. So I'll leave it here. I'm gonna upload this to my YouTube, and I'm excited to see what you guys say. I doubt this doesn't get many views, but regardless, yeah. So goodbye.